Welcome again to It Doesn't Take a Genius, conversation with introspective perspectives and pithy points of view. Here are your hosts, my friends, Max and Marty.
I think that's Mark and Mike.
Yeah, whatever.
Ramsey!
Hello, Mike Marshall. How are you today?
Man, I'm doing fantastic, sir. I see you were on the road.
I am on the road. I am kicked back. Can I go ahead and give a peek behind the curtain, literally?
Oh, yes.
So for those of you watching on our YouTube channel, that is a gauzy curtain in front of the window, which diffuses the light and is what all of my video friends told me you have to have for, this high quality video production that you see in front of you with my, Mac, laptop camera. So, hey, welcome to the big leagues,
It's working. Yeah, I probably need to go with the gauzy thing over my face. That would probably soften the blow, and people do, those of you on the Spotify, the podcast or whatever. Yeah, you're probably doing it the right way.
Yeah, congratulations on making a good choice.
Yeah, we've been told we needed visuals. And yeah, it's just too painful for people to have to look at us and the visuals. So
just move it to a puppet show version of this podcast.
Yeah, just talking hands. Yeah, some sort of Muppet thing.
That's good.
All right, so we're in the midst of the third part of our three-part series, the three must-haves for your coaching to succeed. And so we've covered trust and we've covered caring. So trust, an aspect of trust was caring, and then we dove really deep into caring in episode 60. And so now we're moving on to
commitment. So commitment. And you made an interesting statement before we got started here that commitment really boils down to a little bit of, continuity happening, like commitments over the long haul.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, one of the things I run into when I'm working with organizations is I'll ask, when do you get coaching? When does the manager coach you? And it's usually you get this look like like an animal that's been beaten a few times. It's like flinching. Right. Well, if we screw something up, we get coaching.
Yeah. We used to say that, Mike. If you remember in a previous project, we'd say praise in public, coach in private, because coaching is a bad thing. Something bad happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they'll tell stories of a customer review comes in online, and the manager will print it out, and they'll see him walking with the crumpled up review in his hand, and everybody's just terrified that he's walking towards them.
Yep.
Am I the one that's about to be coached? And then they use the survey, they roll it up into a baseball bat, and then they just beat the guy with it.
Right.
And then his performance should improve, and it's all fixed. So and then if you ask the follow-up question to that, so how do you feel about coaching?
Right. Yeah.
No thanks. I'd rather not have any of that, please.
Right. Right.
So
and if we found this rhythm to it instead.
Yeah.
Right?
So how do you how do you make it non-threatening? How do you make it a part of just the way we do things around here, which is my definition of culture.
That's culture.
We do things around here. What if coaching was just one of those things we do around here?
Right.
And we did it consistent enough that it wasn't always just problem-based ambush coaching. It was, there's no reason we can't sit down with people when things are going well and have a conversation.
Yeah. And maybe we want that, like for our high flyers, like maybe we'd like them to get a chance to grow and get recognized for their bright spots and everything else that can happen in a coaching session. Like maybe everybody wants that. Maybe if everybody got it, it wouldn't be such a shame opportunity,
Exactly. So that old adage, right? The escape excuse of, if you don't hear from me, everything's going great.
Right.
Really? Right. We're paying you as a leader to lead, and you're going to take our highest performers and ignore them?
Yeah. And I left a job because of that. I mean, in all honesty, like that's how I ended up in this business ultimately, is because I left another profession. I've had several professions, but one of the industries that I was in, I had the annual review about every 3 years, and it was, hey, doing a pretty good job. If it was going otherwise, you'd have known by now. So don't worry about it. And that's one extreme. And I think you've sort of painted this picture of this. You talk about this weekly check-in. Could you say a little bit about this? Once a week with every employee concept.
Yeah, and this came from, I believe it came from Marcus Buckingham. And we were talking about, because everybody's running a lean organization now. We were talking about, how many people is too many people.
Right.
And Marcus had a nice formula. I call him Marcus because, we're that close. And he had a wonderful formula. He says, if you can't spend 15 minutes a week one-on-one with each person on your team, then you have too many team members. And he didn't necessarily mean a scheduled 15 minutes, but in the course of a week, if you don't spend 15 minutes with everybody on your team, your team's too big, right? You need to break it into subgroups. Something needs to happen because people need that kind of consistent interaction with the leader of the team.
Yeah, great point. Great point. And so, this sort of leads into something that I picked up from some things you've talked about, and our mentor Greg Tansky have talked about, but the idea of development. If it's going to be 15 minutes, right? If it's going to be, I've got to somehow delegate things so that I can carve out the 15 minutes. It's sort of because that's the one thing you can't delegate. All the tasks that you have probably are tasks. They're things that could be done by other people, but you're responsible for your team. You're responsible for that team growing. And so that's what coaching is. So that's the one thing you really can't delegate, is the development.
Oh, definitely. Simon Sinek, I think he summed it up very well. He said, you're not responsible for the numbers. You're responsible for the people who are responsible for the numbers.
Right.
And in many organizations, you might be a player coach, but you literally cannot do it all. So without leading your team, coaching your team, you're never going to get to where you want to go.
All right.
And in this day and age of automation and AI,
right,
more and more tasks that used to be management tasks, because management is about checking the boxes, making sure everybody does what they're supposed to do. We got more and more computer software and automation of tasks. And now the website does what used to be a manager's role and responsibility. And so if you're looking to add value to your organization, you have to do the one thing, like you said, that you can't delegate, but it's also the one thing that the computer cannot do.
That's right.
It cannot be automated. So it can't be delegated and can't be automated. This is where you will earn your keep as a leader, as a manager, as a coach.
Yeah.
In any future organization.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. I'm in. I can hear some of my clients saying, you are asking a lot, because I really do have a lot of tasks. There are a lot of things on my plate. So it's important. I get it, but I've got these other things that are important too. So what would you say to the manager out there who's just drowning right now?
Well, the first thing is prioritization. So is everything that's on your plate, is it a priority? Is that some of the stuff that you could delegate, and not abdicate, but delegate? Right. Use it to train and empower those around you. The other piece of this is, if you think of a sports analogy, if I'm a college coach and I'm busy, making speeches and filling out reports and talking to all the different media sources and things like that, and not coaching the team, I won't be coaching the team very long. And what we've seen is that, if your report's a day late, but your team is performing exceptionally well,
right,
you'll be okay.
Yeah.
They'll find somebody to help you do your report,
Right.
right? Because the team's performance is the ultimate measure of your success as the leader.
Mm.
And so we've got to do this. The other thing that I would, and that we've had great success with, is it has to be scheduled.
Yeah.
If you really want to do it, it has to be scheduled. I always get this huge chuckle. I go to the dentist, they clean my teeth, and then the lady at the end goes, okay, I need to see you again in 6 months. Would the afternoon or morning be better? Like, I don't know where I'm going to be when I leave this office 6 months from now. I don't know what's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And we agree Tuesday at 9:30, you know, and one of two things always happens.
Mhm.
I either keep the appointment or we reschedule and I keep the appointment.
Okay.
So
I see where you're going with this.
if they would let me wander out without a date, I can push
Over.
this off. Yeah, 6 months, 9 months, a year and a half, right? It can go on, right? But the date, and that's the beauty of, like, we work in a lot of retail settings.
Yeah.
You're at the demand of the customer and the craziness of the day. And so, but if we've got it scheduled, we'll either keep it or we'll move it to a time when that's a little bit less crazy. But our odds of doing it go up dramatically.
Absolutely. And I guess just to fill in that blank there, I think what I hear you saying is we're not going to ambush people like you've talked about in a previous podcast episode. We're going to say at such and such a time, at such and such a date, let's get together. We're going to have grace if we have to reschedule it, but all that to say, put it on the calendar. Like if we're going to say that that's what we're doing, like it needs to get somehow worked into whatever your planner system is, your online calendar, your Apple Watch, whatever it is that's going to remind you that time has been dedicated.
And you're exactly right. And it has to be that way with every task. If you think of the Eisenhower or Stephen Covey matrix, you had important and urgent.
Yep.
All the firefighting, it's the mad customer standing in front of you. It's the deal you have to close now. It's the sale that I have to, all that it's urgent and important. However, the truly powerful tasks are the important, not urgent.
Yep.
That's when we do our strategic thinking. That's coaching. Coaching is important, but it's not urgent because it doesn't have to happen at exactly the moment you schedule it.
Right.
And I love your terminology, grace. There's some grace there. So if I do it on Tuesday or Wednesday, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so those are the type of tasks, all of your important, not urgent, those are the ones get shoved around by the whirlwind and the firefighting of important and urgent. So this is one of those. This is the reason you're not doing it consistently now, is because you've allowed this whirlwind to sweep you up, and putting it on the calendar, committing to the date. It's like having an accountability partner for working out, right? We both agree we're going to be at the gym at 7 a.m. I'm probably more likely to go because the other person's depending on me to be there as well.
Totally. That's a great insight for me, frankly, because there was the idea of sacred time. We're going to dedicate this time, and I don't care what's going on. We're going to have the meeting. I work with a lot of retail organizations, and that's just truly not realistic, because there are working managers, there are customers that come in the door and crazy things happen. But the idea of I'm putting it on the calendar so that we're going to have to deal with this somehow. There's some accountability built into the system. That makes a ton of sense. So that's great.
Oh yeah. So these, we've got a whole system for coaching, but just sitting down with your people and that one-on-one time, if you did nothing else, is just sat down and said, so what's going on?
Yep.
We've got some more structure to it than that. But if you just did that, it would be powerful. Yeah. And if you did that on a regular basis. And now when you have to have those tough conversations,
right?
This is going to be part of, we've had these very positive talks. Now we've got to have a talk about maybe we need to do something more, better, different, or less.
Yeah. There's a forum for it.
Yeah, we know it's coming up, and what you often find is the team member is saving up. So what you get is you get some time saving advantages, because instead of bringing you multiple little things in the course of a week, they know on Thursday at 9 o'clock, I'm going to have some undivided attention with this person.
Great
And
point.
so here are the three things that came up this week that I really wanted to talk to you about.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And so now they've had more time to think it through. Some of the things that they were initially going to bug you about or bother you about or talk to you about, they were solved, and the team member solved them. It went away, whatever. So we don't have to use our valuable time on that. Other things, it's still something we need to talk about. I know I'm going to have time with you. I'll save it till then. So all of a sudden you get more structure to your day
because all the urgent, not important things fell away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were either solved or they're still on the list, and now we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can get your life back by scheduling more time to do this one behavior.
That's great. Well, I love this. So I've enjoyed this little series, and looking forward to sort of where we go from here. But I think for now, Mike, I never get to say this, but I think I'm closing this for us, and I'm going to mention that we're about to hear from a lovely human being who was so kind to give us some professional voiceover acting, and he's going to make fun of us. So now let's listen to him.
Okay.
And that's a wrap. It doesn't take a genius. The blog dedicated to reducing the irreducible. Next time, prime numbers. What makes them so special? Join us then, and thanks for listening.
That's good enough.